So this week's TWAB was interesting to say the least. Bungie has basically delivered us 3 solid W's in my opinion, but then they have this one fat L that just is kind of leaving a sour taste in most people's mouths. If you've read the TWAB, you already know what I'm talking about, but if you have no idea, then we're going to be breaking it down and going over it in this video. So yeah, in their most recent TWAB, Bungie has basically decided to give us some quality of life things and just make it easier and less annoying and tedious for absolutely no reason for people to do certain things. But then they're also kind of going against the grain and taking something away that has been in the game for several years and really has no place to be taken out. And I'm not sure why they're doing it, but yeah. Anyways, there's some very solid points here that I totally agree with and I'm definitely on board with, and then there's just this one big fat L at the end of it that we'll go over. And then I want to listen to your guys' comments below because some people are outraged, some people say we don't know the whole picture. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alright, so now let's go over some of the W's first here. So we'll start off with the very top article. And it says that they're basically adjusting the way the seasonal artifact mod works and how we unlock all of our mods. So basically now we're going to be able to unlock all 25 seasonal artifact mods, which is going to be quite interesting. It's going to be on par with season 15's artifact leveling, basically, as they say here. And then after that, it's going to be a slight adjustment to XP. So basically we can expect that we're going to need a lot of XP in order to unlock all the mods, but I mean, you probably would already assume that, right? You're not going to get all that power for free. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how people will be able to abuse, I guess, all of these seasonal artifact mods at the same time, because there could potentially be some very strong combinations of things you could do. I mean, you can already do some very strong things with the seasonal artifact mods, but on top of that, now you'll be able to have all of them. And, you know, that's going to be kind of interesting because you were kind of limited by tier, right? You couldn't immediately go get all of the perks in the final column, which are kind of contributed to be the strongest ones. Now you're going to be able to have all of them eventually as long as you play the game enough. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that plays out in the long run. So as you can imagine, you can still reset your seasonal artifact mod, which is totally understandable. I think that that's something that you should be able to do because probably not a lot of people are going to get to the point where they have all 25 seasonal artifact mods unlocked. I think the whole point of this was to avoid the annoyance of having to actually reset the seasonal artifact mod. On the other hand, you're like, oh, I could just go grind some more XP and just unlock it. Or I could reset now, but you know, eventually in time I'll have all of them and then I won't have to be resetting anymore. Because right now it's like, if you fill in all of your acquired points and you have no more points left, but you need a certain mod because you're trying to make a certain build, or maybe you didn't pick a certain champion mod that you need to play for your fire team. You know, obviously you'll have to reset the entire artifact and then go through the process of reselecting all the mods, especially if it's all the way to the right. You have to slowly, you know, acquire all of the other mods until you unlock that column. And I think the main point of this is to avoid that annoyance. But like I said earlier, the power issue may come into play later. We're not sure. There's already many power issues in the game, but you know, obviously with all 25 seasonal artifact mods unlocked and available to a player, you know, we'll only have to wait and see to what that will hold for us. So the next big W we have here is we learned about which archetypes we'll need for certain champions next season. They say here that they're bringing back anti-barrier scout rifles and bows, and they're also bringing back auto rifles and SMGs for overload champions. Not a lot of people are happy about that one, but they say that they are making it more reliable than in previous seasons, which I assume equates to them making them less finicky to deal with, especially with these certain archetypes, because as far as I remember, auto rifles and SMGs were not the most effective at dealing with overload champions, and obviously in a GM setting that can be quite scary when you can't manage to stun them because it's just finicky in Destiny 2, you know what I mean? And they don't really go over the unstoppable champions, but they do say here at the end, we'll also be highlighting the new glaive weapon archetype coming in the Witch Queen through a variety of artifact mods, including an option to make your glaive the solution to unstoppable champions, and have a few new artifact mods that will enhance some of the new weapon perks. They don't go over the other archetypes that will be used for unstoppable champions, but it seems like the new archetype, the glaive, will be one of them, so that's cool to know. but this information is just nice to know ahead of time, because if you don't have any of these weapons to help deal with next season's champions, you can currently grind for them right now and get prepared, which I think is a big W. So the third and final W they go over here is the reducing the cost of your affinity swap on your armor pieces. So basically right now, if you fully masterwork an armor, especially if it's exotic, it will literally cost you an arm and a leg to swap it from something like solar to void or void to arc, because for literally no reason right now, it just costs a ton of resources. An exotic piece is literally like 3 ascendant shards, some prisms, a bunch of glimmer, legendary shards, this, that, etc. And it's quite annoying and quite expensive. Now, I don't think a lot of people really do that, mainly because of how expensive it is. And even if it was reduced in cost, I don't think a lot of people still would be swapping, because we just have so much armor to choose from now. I think people just keep, pieces of armor dedicated for certain activities. But if you are looking to swap your armor affinity in the future, they say here that they are reducing legendary armor can be changed for 10,000 glimmer in an upgrade module, and then exotic armor can be changed for 20,000 glimmer in an upgrade module. And they say here that the cost of changing a piece of armor's energy type before it is fully masterworks will remain unchanged. So I think that that's a nice quality of life right there. It's just not going to soak up our resources to change our armor affinity if we want to try out new builds, which I am giving a thumbs up and totally agree with. So the last big point here, which is the soggy L, we saved it for last, is basically them butchering Masterwork Weapons. So basically what they are doing now is they are going to take away the functionality of Masterwork Weapons being able to generate orbs upon multi-kills, and they are now going to allocate that to a mod on your helmet, which they are going to be giving you for free. A lot of people really don't agree with this. They say in this section right here that they think that it seems like a tall order. I don't really think it does. Now, personally, I play a lot of Destiny 2, so I have enough material to literally masterwork every weapon that would drop from now until Witch Queen if I really wanted to. And I understand for new light players, it might be a little bit of a task, but personally, I really don't think it's that difficult to get your hands on some enhancement cores to masterwork a weapon. But some people think that that is, I guess, a tall order, or at least in Bungie's eyes, they believe it is. So then they go ahead and wrap up this paragraph by saying each such mod will apply the orb generation effect to all weapons you have equipped of a particular damage type. So a single mod will cover multiple weapons in your arsenal if they share a damage type, aka an affinity. So basically, if you have a void energy weapon and a void heavy weapon, they'll both be able to create orbs of power for you as long as you have the corresponding mod. I'm assuming there's going to be a kinetic, a void, arc, solar, and stasis mods for this, but we don't know that for sure yet. They didn't say anything about that. They go on to say here that this also applies to a weapon that changes damage types, like hard light or a kinetic weapon with osmosis. We will continue to create exciting exotic catalysts over the next few seasons, but in the meantime, you will be able to generate orbs with Cloudstrike, Thorn, Thunderlord, Taraba, and any other weapon in the game. So it seems like they're putting the pacifier in our mouth while we're crying about our loss of ability to create orbs of power with Masterwork Weapons in Witch Queen. We can't say for certain how it will play out. I feel like the lack of energy in the helmet slot will just kind of ruin this, because it's going to compete with other things like ammo finders and targetings and all that sort of stuff. But we'll just have to wait and see to what they do with it. So my quick take on this is I believe it is taking 2 steps back. And the reason for that is because masterworking a weapon only has 3 functionalities. The first one is you get the kill tracker, but you don't even have to fully masterwork it to get it. The second one is it increases the masterwork on the weapon itself, and if it's an adept weapon, it slightly bumps up all the stats, but it's to a very minimal amount. It's not going to be game breaking. And then third of all, it allows you to obviously create orbs of power on multi-kills, which is its most powerful utility. I think that taking that utility away is going to really hurt the desire to actually masterwork weapons, because now it's going to be almost pointless to masterwork weapon. Most people will still do it because they have the resources on hand, but personally I just think that it's absolutely butchering it. I think that the weapon being able to do that on its own is very nice and convenient, because we already have so many mods in the game and it's so hard to incorporate even a small fraction of them into your build because you have limited energy on your armor. And I think that overall it's just going to leave a sour taste in people's mouths, because now you're taking the weapon's strongest utility away from it and you're allocating it to an armor piece that is also currently very hard to actually equip all the mods you want to use in the current game right now as it is. So you're just making it much more difficult for literally no reason, and I just don't think this is going to be a long-term solution. I think they should just leave it alone. Unless they have something hidden up their sleeve that is going to be game breaking and is going to be allowing this to be a lot easier to do than I think it is. I just totally disagree with it personally. Overall though, I would say that this change really just doesn't need to happen. I think that it's just going to create a further problem with allocating mods in your helmets and taking away a very strong utility aspect of actually masterworking a weapon, which does cost material, which they do seem to think in quotations is a tall order. So personally, I just think that that's going to be kind of the cheap way out if getting orbs of power is truly OP, I guess, because it seems like they're nerfing how many orbs of power we can create. I think that there should be another way to do it. Maybe make it so that a masterwork weapon can only create an orb of power after getting like 3 or 4 kills in a multi-kill instead of at least 2 or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, I feel like this is just kind of cheesy. We've been playing this way for 4 years where masterwork weapons can create orbs of power on a multi-kill. I think taking that out is just... it's not a good taste in people's mouths. It's like, why the hell would you do that? They seem to be holding stuff back from us. They said, you know, here's what we're doing. We know you guys are going to hate it, but don't worry. In a little bit of time, we're going to tell you why we did it and why it's not going to be so bad. And, you know, that's just the Bungie memo right there, dude. That's how they do it. But anyways, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think Bungie's going to be doing that's not going to make this as bad as we all think it is. And if you're on board with it, let me know, and let me know why. I'm actually kind of interested to see what you guys have to say about this. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you found it informational or helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below letting me know what you think. And also subscribe to the channel. We're getting really close to 1K, and I'd really like to hit that before Witch Queen. And yeah, that does it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, peace out. Have a good one.